You're listening to Myers-Briggs Question Corner with Edythe Richards.
Hi folks, today's episode is going to be a little different. I'm going to be talking about unemployment and coronavirus, specifically what you need to do if you've been laid off. If you've been tuning in lately, I've been talking a lot about these difficult times we're living through and how our personalities can impact our ability to cope, for better or for worse. But today, I'm bringing another layer to those discussions from a more practical view. So I'm not going to focus on personality types or the Myers-Briggs type indicator specifically today. What I do want to mention first is that if your job has been impacted by COVID-19 and you find yourself laid off, there are resources available through your state unemployment office. The CARES Act, which was signed into law in March, may provide you with some additional funding as well. Now, because there are so many unemployment cases in the U.S. now, over 30 million, and that's roughly 18% of the U.S. population, things are going to be slower than usual. Please apply as soon as possible, and please be as patient as you can. These are really troubling times for all of us, and that includes workers in the unemployment offices. So you can get started with your claim at www.dol.gov/coronavirus. And I'm going to be including a link to this as well as several other useful websites in the listening notes. Unemployment benefits do vary state by state. So according to Department of Labor guidelines, you should file your claim with the state where you worked. Now, most likely it's going to be a couple of weeks before your unemployment benefits kick in. In the meantime, you can start putting together a budget and cut expenses where you can. Canceling non-essential subscriptions. I know it's quite uncomfortable, but it will allow you to save money for more important things. And the fact is that we don't know how long this is going to last, so every cent is going to count. You can also contact your service providers, your landlords or mortgage companies, and let them know that you've been impacted and you're out of work. Most organizations have been asked to be flexible with their customers and their clients as a result of the pandemic. Here's my third recommendation, and this is the most important one. Take care of yourself. If your health, and we're talking about your physical, your mental, and your emotional health, if these aren't great, you're not going to be able to tackle the other difficulties that may be coming your way. Now, by all means, this doesn't mean to panic, and I'm not trying to sound patronizing by being one of those people who says, don't panic, because let's face it, this is a rough time that we're living through, and we're all going to have those moments when we're not at our best. But we do what we can, and we get through this day by day. One reason I'm very hung up on this point is that as a career counselor, I've seen many people over the years who've been laid off through no fault of their own, who do let their emotions take control of them, often without realizing it. And that hurts their ability to find their next job. And it hurts me to watch them to do it because, it's like a train wreck that I know it's coming and I'm watching it from the sidelines and I am powerless to stop it. We don't always know how we're coming across to others. What message are we sending? Practicing emotional intelligence during these difficult times is more important than ever. And I'll venture to say it's more difficult than it's ever been. I'm giving a free webinar on COVID-19 and emotional intelligence this Thursday, May 7th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is through Career Planning Academy. I'll provide the link to sign up in the listening notes. And if you're tuning in after the webinar has aired, you'll be able to view the recording on YouTube. Or you can just shoot me a quick email at Edythe, that's Edythe, at atopcareer.com, and I'll be more than happy to send you the link. So we've covered filing for unemployment benefits, managing your expenses, and taking care of your health. I'm now going to give some quick tips on job searching. Those of you who have been tuning into my podcast know that I'm a career counselor and I've been in this field for a number of years. The two biggest mistakes I see job seekers making are the same two mistakes that they were making 20 years ago when I first started in this business. And that's using an outdated resume or outdated job search techniques and not having a clear career target. Let me address the first one first. Resumes and job search techniques. So many people make the mistake of writing a generic resume with a laundry list of job duties from every job they've ever had, and the resume ends up being 3 or 4 pages long, and it doesn't give the employer any information about what you as a candidate can do for them or how your background and expertise will benefit them. These types of resumes are very repetitive and they're typically not very easy to read. And worst of all, they don't include relevant keywords and phrases that today's computer screening tools, which are known as applicant tracking systems or ATS, they don't include these types of keywords and phrases that ATS use to locate the most qualified candidates. So you could be the best candidate for that role, but your resume will never be seen by the hiring manager if it's not being read by the ATS. And believe it or not, that accounts for approximately 80% of job seekers, meaning that 80% of people's resumes are not getting through the ATS to an actual human being. So here's a solution. One of my very favorite job websites is JobScan. And that is www.jobscan.co, not .com, it's .co. First of all, this site has a lot of updated content that's incredibly useful for thousands of people who are looking for work. But secondly, my favorite thing about this website is a feature called Match Rate, which allows you to copy and paste your resume and copy and paste the job description of the job you're applying for. And it uses an algorithm to calculate how likely your resume will pass through the applicant tracking systems. And I tell you, if you try this, you're going to be amazed at what you may be doing wrong. The other great thing about this tool is that it provides relevant, up-to-date suggestions to boost your chances of getting your resume read by the hiring manager. And folks, I can't recommend this website enough, jobscan.co. And no, they are not paying me to endorse them, but maybe they should. In all seriousness, though, I too was laid off about 3 years ago, quite unexpectedly. And JobScan and the resources they provide were a major reason that I was able to secure a position so quickly. I actually turned my own layoff story into another podcast series called The Journey Forward, which is my raw, unscripted account of very emotional journey towards reemployment. And I'll include a link in the listening notes, as well as an article that summarizes key points job seekers need to be aware of in today's world. So the second big mistake I'm continuing to see people make is that they don't have a clear career target, or they're targeting a lot of different positions and using the same generic resume for all of them. This happens to a lot of people who are laid off. They're desperate to find a job, any job, and a lot of the time they don't realize how that desperation comes across to people. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say things like, well, I just need to get a job. I need to get a job, any job, now. I've worked as a project manager. I used to be a teacher, but I'll take anything. My unemployment insurance is running out and I just need a job with healthcare benefits. So as someone who truly wants to help people in this situation, I'd be more than happy to recommend you to employers I know, but my reputation is on the line too. So it would be best for all of us if you're clear with what you want to do and how your background and your experience are a good match for that type of position. It's already a really competitive world that we're living in. And with the coronavirus situation and unemployment, it's going to get a lot more competitive. One of the best things that you can do now is to be clear about yourself, about your accomplishments, and why you're the best candidate for the job. I'm including a link to my article entitled 5 Questions to Help Clarify Your Career Path in the listening notes. So we're coming to the end of another episode, so I'm going to sum up my top points for you to be aware of if you're experiencing a layoff due to the COVID-19 pandemic. First, make sure you file for unemployment benefits as soon as possible and be mindful that things may not move forward as quickly as you want them to. Second, watch your expenses and know that you may need to cut spending. Third, be mindful of your health. Fourth, make sure you're using today's best practices for resumes and job search. You don't want to use outdated methods and risk missing out on a chance to get the interview and the job that you want. Finally, be sure that you're clear about what type of position you want and why your experience and background would be a good fit for that employer. There are so many layers to this one, so start by taking an honest self-assessment of all the positions you've had throughout your life and try to get a sense of where your skills and values are most aligned. You may actually be reminded that your greatest accomplishments don't necessarily entail money or productivity. Many times the most fulfilling things we do relate to work that's meaningful to us. I'm Edythe Richards, career counselor and founder of A Top Career, wishing you continued success. Stay well and stay healthy.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to hear more, or you'd like to submit a question yourself, then you can find us at www.atopcareer.com. Until next time. MBTI and Myers-Briggs are registered trademarks of the MBTI Trust.